My monster-in-law invited my husband's ex to every family event, calling her the daughter-in-law she never had. I met Blake 4 years ago at a random restaurant. We'd gone to the same high school, but weren't close back then because he was dating Candace, this girl from the grade below us. They'd been together since middle school, one of those couples everyone assumed would get married. When we reconnected after college, I asked about her. He told me they'd broken up a year and a half earlier. She dumped him, saying she wanted to explore the world, but would come back to him someday. Translation: she wanted to date other guys, but keep him as a backup. He'd finally moved on by the time we met. We started dating, and everything was perfect until he brought me home for Christmas to meet his family. Candace was there. His mom Sharon had invited her. I thought it was a one-time thing, but Blake explained that Sharon loved Candace, and they'd stayed friends even after the breakup, talking every other week. That first Christmas, Candace spent the entire night making jokes about my height, my outfit, my makeup. Sharon laughed at everything. When Blake tried to defend me, Sharon put me on the spot and asked if I had a problem with Candace's jokes. I knew if I said yes, they'd call me insecure, so I said I didn't care. I saw the disappointment flash across both their faces. They wanted me to crack. That's when I decided they'd never get that satisfaction from me. For 2 years, I endured it. Every Thanksgiving, every Easter, every birthday party, there was Candace in designer dresses while Sharon gushed over her. They'd talk about high school memories, inside jokes, that promise ring Blake gave her when they were 18. Sharon would say things like, "Candace always had such natural elegance," while looking at my Target dress. Or, "Some women just have that special something," while Candace flipped her hair. Blake wanted to tell his mom to stop inviting Candace, but I refused. I told him I wasn't going to lose to them by acting bothered. He thought I was being stubborn, but backed off. The worst part was Sharon's comments about how Candace was the daughter-in-law she wished she had, how Candace understood family values, how some people just fit better into certain circles. All while I sat right there, but I smiled through it all. I complimented Candace's dress. I asked Sharon about her book club. I acted like their words rolled off my back because I refused to give them the satisfaction of knowing they got to me. Then 3 days ago came Sharon's 49th birthday party. Blake didn't want to go because his coworker's engagement party was the same night and he was really close with the guy, but Sharon guilted him into promising he'd come to hers instead. So we agreed we'd leave right after the cake to hit the other party. We showed up and immediately something felt wrong. Candace was there in a stunning gown like she was going to the Oscars. Sharon kept giggling and whispering with her in the corner. At 5:30, Blake's dad brought out 2 cakes. One said, "Happy birthday, Sharon." The other said, "Happy almost anniversary." Nobody understood what was happening. Then Candace stepped forward, grabbed Blake by the arm, and pulled him to stand next to her. She announced to the entire party that 10 years ago, on Sharon's birthday, Blake had gotten down on one knee and given her a promise ring before they left for different colleges. She held up her hand, showing everyone she still wore it. She said it had been 10 years since that special day, and even though life took them in different directions, she wanted to celebrate what could have been. Sharon was beaming, saying she was happy to let them steal her thunder for their almost anniversary. The room went completely silent. Even the other guests looked uncomfortable. Candace hugged Blake, and he just stood there frozen. Sharon cut the anniversary cake and tried to feed a piece to Blake like he was the groom. That's when he snapped back to reality. Blake knocked the cake away and yelled at Candace to leave. Sharon pulled out her phone with trembling hands and started showing photos. Candace in our kitchen, Candace on our couch, Candace wearing my robe. Blake grabbed the phone and scrolled, his breathing getting shallow. Sharon's voice got defensive as she explained she'd given Candace the spare key because she needed somewhere quiet to work. But then Candace said Sharon should tell him the rest. Sharon admitted she'd been having Candace check on the house, water plants, maybe stay longer than necessary because she missed having Blake around. Blake's hands shook as he scrolled to a photo dated yesterday. I pulled out my own phone to check our security camera app, the one Blake didn't know I'd installed last month because items kept going missing. And when the live feed loaded, Candace's car was in our driveway right now. Blake looked at me, then at the screen. His face went completely white. "We need to go home. Now." We didn't say goodbye to anyone. We just walked out while Sharon called after us, her voice getting higher and angrier with every step we took. I could hear her telling the guests that we were being dramatic, that this was all a misunderstanding. Blake was driving too fast, gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles were white. I kept refreshing the camera feed on my phone every few seconds. Candace's car was still there, parked in our driveway like she had every right to be there. The front door was closed, but I could see movement through the living room window. "How long has she been doing this?" Blake asked. His voice was shaking and he wouldn't look at me. "I don't know. I only installed the cameras a month ago because my grandmother's necklace went missing, and I thought maybe we'd been robbed or something." "Your grandmother's necklace is gone?" "Yeah, and other stuff. Little things. A coffee mug I've had since college. That sweater Graham made me. I thought I was going crazy, like maybe I'd misplaced them." Blake didn't respond. His jaw was clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. We pulled into our driveway behind Candace's silver Mercedes, the same car that had been at every single family gathering for 2 years. Blake was out before I even unbuckled my seatbelt. He used his key, but the door was already unlocked from the inside. We walked in and the smell hit me first. Candace's perfume. That same expensive scent she always wore to family events, the one Sharon always complimented, now saturating every corner of my living room. It was everywhere, like she'd been spraying it to mark her territory. She was in the kitchen, wearing my clothes. Not just any clothes, but the specific sweater Blake got me for our second anniversary last year, the soft gray one with the little stars on it. She had a pan on the stove and was humming to herself, completely comfortable, like this was her kitchen. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Blake's voice came out like a growl I'd never heard before. Candace turned around and smiled like this was totally normal, like we'd just walked into a surprise party she'd been planning. "Oh, you're early. I was making your favorite, chicken parmesan, the way you like it with extra cheese." "Get out." "Blake, please, just listen for a second. I know this looks bad, but get out of my house right now or I'm calling the police." Candace's face crumpled. She pulled her phone from the pocket of my jeans that she was also wearing, hands shaking so badly she almost dropped it. "You texted me. You said you wanted to see me. You said you had to keep it secret from her because she's controlling and you were scared, but you missed me so much." Blake stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "I never texted you." "Yes, you did. Look." She shoved her phone at him with desperate energy. I looked over his shoulder at the screen. There were dozens of messages from a number saved as Blake, with a heart emoji. The texts went back weeks, maybe months. Messages about missing her, about regretting the breakup, about wanting to see her but having to be careful, about meeting at the house when his wife wouldn't be there, about how hard it was to pretend everything was fine. The messages were detailed, specific, exactly the kind of things Blake would say. Blake's face went pale. "This isn't my number." "What? This isn't my number. I never sent these. Look." He held up his phone, showing his actual number. Candace looked between our phones, confusion spreading across her face like spilled water. Then realization hit and her expression changed completely. "Sharon, my mom sent these? She has a messaging app. She showed me once, like months ago. You can make it look like any number you want." Candace sat down hard on one of our kitchen chairs, the one that wobbled because we kept meaning to fix it. "Oh my God, she told me you were having an affair with me, that you wanted me back but were afraid to leave because your wife was controlling and emotionally abusive and you didn't know how to get out." "She what?" Candace looked at me and there were actual tears in her eyes now. "I'm so sorry. I thought this was real. I thought you wanted this." She showed me the texts and I believed her because why would a mother lie about something like that? She said you needed me to be patient, that you were working up the courage, that seeing me here would help you remember what real love felt like. I couldn't speak. My throat felt like someone had filled it with cement. Blake was scrolling through the messages on Candace's phone, his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping underneath his skin. "How long have you been coming here?" I finally managed to ask. 6 months? Maybe longer? Candace wiped her eyes with the sleeve of my sweater. "Sharon said you guys needed someone to water the plants when you were both working late. Then she said Blake liked having me here, that it reminded him of before we broke up, of happier times. I didn't think it was weird because she's your mom and she gave me the key herself." Blake looked at me. "The security cameras. We need to check everything, all the footage." We pulled up the app on the living room TV, started scrolling through the saved footage from the past month. Candace had been coming over 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes more. Sometimes she'd stay for 20 minutes, sometimes for hours. But it wasn't just visiting. In one video from 3 weeks ago, she brought a duffel bag and went into the guest bathroom, came out empty-handed 15 minutes later. I went to the guest bathroom while Blake kept watching footage, opened the cabinet under the sink. Her shampoo was there, her conditioner, her face wash, her makeup remover, her expensive moisturizer that probably cost more than my car payment. Everything organized neatly like she'd been living here for years. I walked to our bedroom, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat, opened the closet. Mixed between my clothes were things I'd never seen before. Dresses in her size, all designer labels, shoes that weren't mine, perfectly arranged on my shoe rack. A whole section of the closet had been taken over. "She's been moving in," I called out, my voice echoing weird in the hallway. Blake came into the bedroom, started pulling out the unfamiliar items one by one. A silk robe, designer jeans with the tags still on them, blouses that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. We went through the whole house together. Her coffee pods in the kitchen, the expensive kind, her Greek yogurt in the fridge, her magazines on the coffee table, all fashion and lifestyle stuff, her throw blanket on the couch, the one I'd seen at Sharon's house before. "I was trying to make it feel like home," Candace said quietly from the bedroom doorway. She looked smaller now, less confident. "Sharon said Blake would be more comfortable if his space reflected who he really was. She said your wife was making him live a certain way, all practical and boring, and I could help fix that. She said I was helping him rediscover himself." I went back to the security footage on my phone, started watching more carefully, paying attention to details I'd missed before. Candace wasn't just adding her things, she was removing mine. I watched her take my favorite coffee mug, the one with the chipped handle that I'd had since college. Watched her carefully fold up the sweater my grandmother made me before she died, the one with my initials embroidered on it. Watched her take photos off the wall, pictures of my family that Blake and I had hung together, and carry them out to her car wrapped in newspaper. "Where's my stuff?" I asked. My voice came out flat and cold. Candace looked at the floor. "Guest room closet. Sharon said to keep everything safe until you were ready to let go. She said Blake would eventually want me to get rid of it all, but we had to be gradual so he wouldn't feel guilty." I went to the guest room, the room we'd been planning to turn into an office. Opened the closet door. There was a cardboard box shoved in the back behind some old winter coats. Inside was everything. My mug, my sweater, my photos, my prescription medication, my grandmother's necklace. Everything I thought I'd lost or misplaced over the past few months all carefully packed away like trash someone was preparing to throw out. There was a notebook underneath it all, the kind you'd use for grocery lists. I opened it with shaking hands. The first page said, "Things to dispose of gradually," in Candace's neat, careful handwriting. Every item was listed with dates next to them. My mug was scheduled for next week, my grandmother's necklace for the week after, my prescription bottles for the following month. At the bottom of the page, in different ink and different handwriting, someone had written, "Make room for what belongs." "This is Sharon's handwriting," Blake said, looking over my shoulder at the note. "Look at the way she makes her R's. That's exactly how she writes." I kept flipping through the notebook. It was a plan, a detailed, methodical plan to erase me from my own home piece by piece, replace my things with Candace's things, replace my presence with hers until I was just a ghost haunting my own life. There were notes about my schedule, my routines, my habits. Works late Tuesdays and Thursdays. Goes to gym Saturday mornings, usually back by 10. Book club second Wednesday of month, never misses it. Therapy appointments every other Friday at 4. "How did you know all this?" Blake asked Candace. His voice was scary calm now. "Sharon told me. She said you told her everything because you guys were so close. She made it sound like you shared everything with her and kept secrets from your wife." Blake pulled out his phone, started going through settings, apps, everything. "My phone has been acting weird lately. Battery draining super fast, getting hot even when I'm not using it. I thought it was just old." He found it buried in what looked like a system update app. Spyware. "This has been forwarding all my messages somewhere. Look at the permissions. It has access to everything." I checked my phone, my hands shaking so badly I could barely navigate the menus. Same thing, different app name, same function. Some kind of monitoring software disguised as a battery optimizer. Sharon had been reading everything, every text, every email, every private conversation, for over a year, according to the installation date. Blake sat down hard on the edge of the bed. "She's been watching us. She knows everything we've ever said to each other, every fight, every private moment, everything." I scrolled through my messages, feeling sick. All the times I'd vented to my best friend Jessica about feeling excluded at family events. The times I'd complained to my sister about Sharon's comments, calling her passive-aggressive and manipulative. My therapy session notes where I talked about feeling inadequate and wondering if I was good enough for Blake. Sharon had seen all of it, every vulnerable moment, every doubt, every fear. "That's how she knew," I said. Every time Candace said something at a family gathering that bothered me, it was because Sharon told her exactly what to say. She knew all my insecurities because she'd been reading me talking about them. Blake found a text thread on his phone that the spyware must have captured, between Sharon and Candace. He must have been included at some point by accident. He started reading out loud, his voice getting shakier with each word. "The timeline needs to move faster. She's getting suspicious about the missing items. You need to be more aggressive with the replacement phase." That's from Sharon 2 weeks ago. "What timeline?" I asked. But I already knew I didn't want to hear the answer. Blake kept scrolling, his face getting paler. "You need to be there when she finds your things. She'll confront you, probably yell. Make sure you record it on your phone. We need evidence of her jealous, aggressive behavior. Make sure you seem scared of her. Judges love that." Candace was crying now, mascara running down her face. "She told me you were being abused, that your wife was controlling and mean and you were afraid to leave her. She said if I could just be present in your life enough, you'd remember what real love felt like and find the courage to end your marriage. She made it sound like I was saving you. She was manufacturing evidence," I said, feeling like I might throw up. She wanted me to find Candace's things. She wanted me to freak out and yell. She was building a case to make me look like the crazy, jealous wife so Blake would leave me. Blake kept scrolling through the captured messages. "Next Tuesday, she has late meetings until 8. That's when you do it. Make sure the house looks lived in. Make sure it looks like you belong there more than she does. When she comes home and sees you, let her react however she wants. Just record everything. The worse she looks, the better for us." "Do what?" I asked, but my voice came out as barely a whisper. "Move your bedroom furniture into the guest room," Blake read. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the phone. "Sharon says it's time to establish permanent residence. Bring your bed, your dresser, everything. Make it look like you've been sleeping there for months. When she sees it, she'll lose it. Make sure you get it all on video." My stomach dropped like I was in an elevator that had snapped its cable. She was going to actually move into our house. Like, permanently. Sharon said it would help the case. Candace's voice was barely audible now. "She said when you came home and saw me there, really there with all my stuff, you'd realize you were the intruder in Blake's life, not me. That you'd leave on your own and Blake wouldn't even have to ask you to go. She said I'd be doing you a favor because clearly you weren't happy anyway." I looked at the calendar on my phone. Tomorrow was Tuesday. I had late meetings scheduled until 8. It was all there in my work calendar that Sharon had been reading through the spyware. A loud knock on the front door made all three of us jump. Blake went to answer it. His father stood there, and I'd never seen him look so tired. He was holding a large manila envelope, the kind lawyers use. "I need to show you something," Blake's dad said. His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. "I went to get my golf clubs from your mother's garage and found this hidden behind the water heater. I don't think she meant for me to find it." He walked into the living room and opened the envelope on our coffee table. Inside was a lease agreement for our address. It had Blake and Candace's names on it as tenants. The date was from 6 months ago, right when Candace started coming over regularly according to the security footage. "This is fake," Blake said, picking it up. "We own this house. We bought it 3 years ago. I know, son, but it looks real. Official letterhead, notary stamp, signatures, the whole thing. His dad pulled out more papers. There's also these letters, dozens of them, all written from Blake to Candace. I watched Blake pick one up and start reading, his face going from pale to green. The letters talked about leaving me, about being trapped in a loveless marriage, about counting down the days until he could be free, about how much he missed Candace and regretted letting her go. I never wrote these, Blake said. I would never. Is this Mom's handwriting? Blake looked closer at the letters, comparing them to old birthday cards from Sharon that were stuck to our fridge with magnets. His dad nodded slowly. She's been practicing your signature for months. I found the practice sheets in her desk drawer when I was looking for stamps. Pages and pages of her writing your name over and over until it looked right. Why would she? Because she's building a legal case, Blake. If Candace needs to claim any right to this house, or if you try to get a restraining order against her, Sharon has documentation that you invited Candace here, that you wanted her here, that this was a mutual arrangement, and your wife is the one causing problems. The lease, the letters, all of it makes it look like you and Candace have been planning this for months. Blake looked like he might be sick. He sat down on the couch, still holding one of the fake letters. She's been planning this for months, maybe longer. 2 years, his dad said quietly. I found journals going back to when you first started dating your wife. Sharon never accepted it. She wrote about different plans, different ways to break you up. Most of them didn't work because you two seemed solid. But then she found Candace on social media and reached out. That's when the planning got serious. My phone buzzed in my hand, making me jump. A text from an unknown number. You have 48 hours. That's Sharon's other number, Candace said, looking at my screen. She has like 3 different phones. She showed me once. Said it was for business, but I think she just likes having backup numbers. The phone buzzed again before I could respond. Blake belongs at home with his family. If you won't leave voluntarily, we'll make sure everyone knows why he needs to be free of you. The evidence is ready. Blake called his mom right there in front of all of us. Put it on speaker. She answered on the first ring like she'd been waiting by her phone. Did you get my message? Sharon asked. No greeting, no pretense of normalcy. What the hell are you doing? Blake's voice cracked. Watch your language. I'm bringing my son home where he belongs. You have 48 hours to move out of Blake's house, or I execute the plan anyway. I have the documents. I have the photos. I have Candace willing to testify that she's been living there for months. I have proof of your wife's aggressive, controlling behavior from her own text messages. Every judge in this county knows me from my volunteer work. They'll believe me over some girl nobody knows. You put spyware on our phones. That's illegal. I was protecting my son. You've isolated him from his family. You've changed him into someone I don't recognize. Someone who doesn't call his mother every day like he used to. Someone who spends holidays with your family instead of mine. You've poisoned him against me. I'm your son, and I'm telling you to stop this right now. Sharon actually laughed. A sound that made my skin crawl. You always come back, Blake. You always do. Remember when you were 16 and said you were moving in with your friend because I was too strict? You were back in 3 days crying and apologizing. Remember when you were 22 and said you needed your own apartment because you needed space? You called me crying within a week because you couldn't figure out how to do laundry and your place was a mess. You need me. You've always needed me. You can't function without me. I'm not 16 anymore. I'm not 22. I'm a grown man with a wife. No, you're my baby. And I'm not letting some random girl take you away from me just because she's got you temporarily confused. 48 hours. Move out, or I make this very public and very ugly for her. The line went dead. Blake stared at his phone like it had bitten him. We need to go over there. Confront her face to face with Dad as a witness. Show her we're serious about legal action if this doesn't stop. She won't care, I said. You heard her. She thinks she owns you. We have to try. We have to make her understand this is real. We all drove to Sharon's house in separate cars. Blake's dad followed in his truck. Candace stayed at our place, too shocked and crying too hard to do anything else. The whole drive over, Blake kept clenching and unclenching his fists on the steering wheel. I kept thinking about that notebook. Things to dispose of gradually, like I was garbage to be thrown out piece by piece. Sharon answered the door before we even knocked, like she'd been watching for us through the window. Come in, all of you. Let's discuss this like adults. We walked into the living room. Blake didn't sit down even though Sharon gestured to the couch like we were there for a friendly visit. You need to stop, Blake said, his voice shaking with barely controlled anger. All of it. The spyware, the fake documents, the manipulation of Candace. If you ever contact us again, if you ever step foot near our house, I'm pursuing legal action for everything. The home invasion, the forgery, the illegal surveillance, all of it. Sharon smiled like he'd just told a cute joke. No, you won't. Yes, I will. I'm serious. You won't because I'm your mother and you always come back. You can't help yourself. You need me. You need my guidance. You need my love. She can't give you what I can. This isn't love, Mom. This is, I don't even know what this is. Sharon pulled out her phone slowly, deliberately, started scrolling through something, then turned it to face us. A photo album labeled Blake's room, with a little heart emoji. She scrolled through pictures of his childhood bedroom, perfectly preserved exactly as it was when he left for college. The same posters on the walls, the same bedspread with the sports teams he liked when he was 17, the same desk arrangement with his old textbooks, his old trophies on the shelves. I change the sheets every single week, Sharon said, her voice soft and creepy. Dust every Sunday morning. I vacuum every Friday. It's waiting for you, sweetheart. It's always been waiting for you. Because deep down, you know where you belong. Not with her in some house pretending to be someone you're not. Here, home, with me. Blake's voice came out strangled. You're not well, Mom. This isn't normal. I'm the only one who truly loves you. I'm the only one who knows what's best for you. I carried you for 9 months. I raised you. I know you better than anyone ever could. And once you realize that, once you see that she's trying to change you into someone you're not, you'll come back. You always do. You always will. If you contact us again, I'm getting a restraining order today. I mean it. Try it. Go ahead and try. Sharon's voice turned hard. I'll show every judge those messages where you complained about her, where you said you felt trapped, where you wondered if you made a mistake marrying her, where you said she doesn't understand you. I've been reading them for over a year, sweetheart. I know exactly how unhappy you've been. I have screenshots of everything. Those were private conversations where I was venting like every married person does. That doesn't matter what you meant. Matters what it looks like. And it looks like you're in an unhappy marriage with a controlling woman who isolated you from your family. I'll make sure everyone knows it. Your friends, your coworkers, everyone. Blake turned and walked out without another word. I followed him, my heart pounding. His dad stayed for a moment, said something to Sharon in a low voice I couldn't hear, then joined us outside on the driveway. She's not going to stop, I said once we were all standing by our cars. I know, Blake replied. I know she won't, but what else can we do? We document everything. We get a lawyer tomorrow. We build our own case. His dad put a hand on Blake's shoulder. I'll testify to everything I found, everything I've seen. This has gone too far. We drove home in silence. My mind was racing with everything we'd learned. The spyware, the fake documents, the systematic erasure of me from my own home. When we pulled into our driveway, I noticed it first. The front door was wide open. Blake was out of the car before I could even process what I was seeing. I ran after him, my heart in my throat. Inside, all of Candace's belongings were back. Not just back, but everywhere. Her furniture in the guest room arranged like a bedroom. Her clothes in the closet, taking up even more space than before. Her toiletries spread across the bathroom counter. Her items in every room. She was sitting on our couch with 3 large packed suitcases next to her, crying so hard her whole body was shaking. What happened? Blake demanded. What are you doing? Sharon called. Candace managed to get out between sobs. She said the plan was moving up to tonight. She said you finally asked me to move in, that you were ready, that I should bring everything because you were going to tell your wife it was over when you got home. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, opened the security camera app and started scrolling back through the footage. 20 minutes ago, Sharon's car pulled up to our house. Sharon walked to our front door with purpose, used a key to let herself in, a different key than the one we knew she had. Came back out 2 minutes later, got Candace from her car parked down the street where we wouldn't see it. Candace started moving her things in, trip after trip, while Sharon watched from her car. Then Sharon left. How many keys to our house does she have? I asked, my voice coming out weird and high-pitched. I don't know, Blake said. He looked devastated. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know what's real. Candace stood up from the couch. I'm so sorry. I really thought I believed her. She's your mom. She showed me texts from your number. Why would she lie about something like this? Why would a mother do this to her own son? Blake pulled out his phone. His hands were shaking as he dialed 911. I need to report someone trespassing in my home. Someone who was let in by a third party without permission and won't leave. While we waited for the police to arrive, standing there in our living room surrounded by Candace's packed belongings, Blake's phone rang. The caller ID said, Mom. He looked at me. I nodded. He answered and put it on speaker. I told you she'd never leave willingly. Sharon's voice came through the speaker, calm and satisfied. But now you have witnesses that she's unstable. She broke into your house. She moved all her things in without permission from you or your wife. The police will document it when they come. They'll write a report. The family will understand now why you need to come home, why you need space from your wife who clearly can't keep you happy if other women are literally moving into your house. Either way, you lose her, Blake. Either she looks crazy and jealous for calling the cops on your ex, or she looks like a failure as a wife because she can't keep other women away. Either way, the marriage is over in everyone's eyes. Either way, you come home to me where you belong. Blake stared at the phone. Red and blue lights were already filling our driveway, reflecting off our windows. The line went dead and Sharon was gone, but her words hung in the air between us like poison.